Hey Jared, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. I'm going to go through and talk a little bit about your mechanics and your delivery and get you to a point where you're kind of get a little bit better understanding of just sort of how your body's supposed to work, using more legs, because as you get older, as you get stronger, and it gets a little bit easier for you to use that lower half, we got to make sure that we kind of have that understanding. You got a good base of everything. Your arm is working in a good path, all right, and then there's just a few little things we can do along the way to kind of help you get yourself more explosive, using a little bit more legs and staying closed a little bit longer. And we'll go through and talk a little bit about each step. So, basically from the wind-up, you're doing good at making small movements with your feet. A lot of times kids will, step really far one way, one way to the other. But you got your eyes locked on that catcher. You have a nice small movement, but your eyes stay on the catcher the whole time. That's good. All right. Next thing we look at is through your lifting of your foot. We look at what's your head doing in relation to your rest of your body. All right. So we'll just kind of draw a line right down your spine. You can see you're staying over that back leg all the way through your all the way through your leg lift. All right, so everything's really good at this point. All right, so everything's good up until here. All right, now what we look at is the height of your leg kick. All right, so this is the height right here. We'll call this frame the leg kick. All right, so this is your knees at its highest point. All right, good thing to point out. Your hips are closed off. All right, your foot's over this back foot. You got your hips in a nice position to lead you down the mountain, because we want our hips to lead, because that's the engine of everything. That's where all the power comes from. So the more we can keep those hips closed initially, that just gets us in a lot better position to time the delivery and really get rolling. So lower half wise, really good. Okay, so everything down here is good. All right. Now the only thing that we could fix is popping this glove in next to your chest a little bit more. All right, just bring it in closer to your body, and all that does is that just helps you time your delivery a little bit more, get your arm path on a more consistent basis, because it can just vary so much out here. In the gloves out here, it might be here one time, it might get moved an inch to the side, an inch down. There's just no real way to make this precise. So we always tuck it in, around our belly button, below our chest somewhere, so we know that's that point every single time, because we got to be able to get to that point where we're able to recreate each delivery the same. We got to make sure we're just almost robotic in that everything's working the same time, breaking the hands at the same point, and so that'll just help you out, get a little bit more consistent. All right. So now once we get to here, now what we want to try to see is hips going forward, this heel and this knee, all they're doing is dropping down, staying behind the hips, all right, and then we want to see that ball pop out of your glove, all right. So as we start sinking forward here, all right, I'm sure your hands have probably the glove's kind of hiding it, but I think your hands are popping out, so you're breaking your hands. You can see your hips are starting forward, all right, and so you got a pretty good initial start with everything, all right. One of the things that the hands popping out does for you is if you watch your hands as that leg goes down, you can see your hands straighten out back here. All right, so right here you have basically two straight arms. All right, what we want to try to see is this glove follow that front foot a little bit more. All right, so you want to try to get to a point where that glove's sort of working with that front leg, and you can just see how this glove's lagging back here. And then at your foot strike, it just really never stays up over that front foot. You just kind of rotate around that front leg a little bit, all right? So that's another thing that's going to help when you get your glove tucked in a little bit closer to your body, is you're going to get away from pushing out with your gloves, all right? We don't want to push out. We want to go, down and out, just like your back arm's doing, all right? So that's just something that'll be easier, just time you up a little bit more. Excuse me. And then the more we can let this glove work out a little bit more, the more that's going to help your body and staying back and staying closed. And I'll show you what I mean by that, because through to our foot strike. So once that front foot first hits the ground, all right, we want to try to see this glove farther out over that front foot, elbow about shoulder height. All right. So now with that, all that's doing is that's just creating more torque in your hips. So that's just going to be able to use your hips a lot more. All right. It's just going to load up that backside, keep the shoulders closed, and that's just going to store up more energy to get you out over that front foot. So at this point, you know, we just want to see that glove out in here a little bit more. It doesn't have to be exactly out over that front foot, but we just want to see this elbow get up a little bit higher so that we can get a little bit more torque. All right. Arm health wise, this is really good angle. All right. Elbow shoulder height. You know, you got an angle out there. This is, you know, nothing's showing red flags for injuries here. You know, if you're up here, you know, that's where you get into some problems, or down here. So you got a good spot. Just like I was kind of saying, you have a good arm path. Everything's kind of working together. Now it's just a matter of maximizing, you know, the little things, maximizing that front shoulder, and then maximizing your legs a little bit more. All right. You know, you're doing good at leading with your hip. But what you're doing is you're staying too long over this back leg, all right? And what I mean by that is if we draw a line over your head here, you can see how your ear doesn't come off that line until your foot's, you know, almost straight. So all you're doing is you're just staying back a little bit too long, all right? You see how that head's over that knee? We don't really want to see it ever get past that midline of your thigh. We just want to get that body going down the hill. So we want to try to keep this posture right here and lock it in place as our body sinks forward instead of kind of sinking down on that line before you get going. So once you start forward, once this leg starts down, we should be seeing this spine start moving. You know, we should start seeing movement with that upper body too, and you just kind of stay over that back leg. You break the posture, you're kind of leaning back there, and all that's doing is you can see how it at foot strike right here, your foot's pretty much closed off, all right? So you're still closed off a little bit. If you were to kind of draw a line, it looks like you're open. So it's causing you to open up and stay closed on this front foot, which just kind of chokes everything off in your front hip, you know, and it just doesn't get you in that position where you're using that lower half, all right? And then through release, basically the biggest thing that will help you through release is you can see here, I'll show you first what you're doing. You can see here you're doing good at getting out front, releasing the ball, but you can see this back foot stay on the ground and doesn't ever come up, and you just sit kind of down there, all right? When we're finishing, when we're releasing the ball, all right, we do want to get out over that front foot, all right, but what we want to try to get, and what this glove will help do, is with this glove farther out here, that body's going to want to go to your glove, all right? So your arm's out here, you know, and you're just rotating towards that glove. And what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing yourself get a little bit farther out through this back foot. You're going to see you're driving out over that back foot. Then at release, we want to see your head and your chest out over that front foot. So we want to see it somewhere out here and just getting a little bit more angle. So just staying through that back side a little bit longer, so you can get out over that front foot. And then at release, we got all our energy still going forward. So as you finish, you know, there's no possible way that foot can stay on the ground. Now that foot, you know, hopefully will be, you know, up here in line with your body. You know, now your head's probably somewhere out here. You know, so you just got to use more of that body, more of those legs, you know, and just be able to finish everything, all that momentum going forward. But you have a good base. You're striding out real good. Now it's just a matter of just tweaking up a few things, so as you get stronger, as you get a little bit older, you know, it's going to come easy for you because you got the foundation there for everything. So hopefully you had a good time at camp. Thanks for making it out, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.